How is everyone doing today? And in this video, we are going to be talking about the millions of banners that we are going to have at the start of 3.0, and of course, going into the second half of 3.0, and even the drip marketing as well. There's just so many banners to think about when it comes to summoning not only the Herta, but all her reruns. Same thing with Aglaea, same thing with all her reruns, all the drip marketing. There's a crap ton of stuff going on. And not only that, I took the time taking my eyes off of PokeStream with the war that's happening on, because I just love seeing that type of stuff. It's super entertaining. But today's video is going to be talking about Herta, going to be talking about all the banners associated with her, all that different type of stuff. And in this video specifically, I do want to talk about, of course, the cost opportunity, or I guess you could say how important some of these characters are and what you should look out for when it comes to what we're looking at in the game. Right now in Honkai Star, of course, with the current banner that's going on, we do have Fugue and we do have Firefly. Of course, I think at this point in time, if you haven't already pulled Firefly, you're still probably not pulling Firefly. If you do have Firefly, the only thing that is important realistically when it comes to a kit that you could technically pull for would technically be, is there a section where I can just look at the character? I completely forgot that's a thing. Oh, there you go. The only thing you could technically do is pull for Eidolons. Not gonna lie, Eidolon 1 and especially 2 are definitely super high value. I think realistically, when choosing Firefly as a break DPS, she definitely is going to have a long-term stay with having E1 or E2, because E1 just makes it so you never use skill points, you ignore defense. E2 lets you have an extra turn, so that's double the DPS at that point. So it's really good stuff for her specifically, but of course not everyone's going to go ahead and grab Eidolons. Fugue specifically for the break team is going to prolong its life for the most part. I do see Fugue potentially being able to be used with other characters in the future, especially if you shill out for the E1 that she has, because the E1 is kind of a busted Eidolon as a support, and that's just basically the way all the supports are at this current moment. Ruame E1, Robin E1, Sunday E1, and same thing with what's his name, Fugue E1. They all have really strong stuff inside their kit immediately out the gate with their E1s. So it really is crazy to see how much power is locked behind this, and I'm pretty sure with E1 some crazy stuff down the line is going to happen with Fugue and Firefly. But since these characters are so close to being gone already, if you've already made your pulls, if you've already looked at these characters, you probably have already made your decision. But realistically, the only one out of the two that realistically can be summoned on still, if you're still waiting for the choice, I definitely think Fugue is very strong, especially if you are a break centered player, because remember, HMC will be leaving just because of how insane RMC is. If you haven't already watched that showcase I've had with Herta, yeah, he's a nasty character, and I definitely see him being used on a crap ton of teams in the future, and I can't wait to showcase that out as well as time goes by. But we're gonna go ahead and look at our current banners that are going to be coming out, and that is of course going to be the Herta. I've already showcased her. She is definitely going to be up there in tier 0 alongside Fei Xiao and Acheron. The only thing with the Herta is that a lot of people don't have her correct teammates, although she has many free-to-play options. I mean many, which is a great thing for not only free-to-play players, but also for people who aren't as invested into the Erudition archetype. Herta, of course, with Jade is going to be a really strong core, and then not only that, having characters like Mini Herta, having characters like Serval, having Robin, using characters like RMC as well, and also Linksha. There's so many really great characters that are currently out at the moment, but I know a lot of people haven't necessarily pulled for Jade way earlier, because of course no one was, unless you are the lucky person that ended up going out for Jade at first. Then you're in a really good spot to pick up the Herta. You're gonna have one of her best teammates by far for quite some time. But the Herta realistically has so many different options that Jade isn't a must, but she can make other teams without those characters, so it's a really good thing overall. I do think Herta is a very solid pick, and is definitely a pick that will carry your account for a long amount of time, because she is going to be the emanator of Erudition, and this is the big boy of the character roster, I guess you could say. We have Acheron. She was absolutely insane on her release, and she still is insane regardless of what most people think. Same thing goes for Fei Xiao. Fei Xiao will always be the leader of follow-up for the meantime, and with how synergistic that team is, they're going to thrive as well. And then the Herta is going to be here for Erudition characters, like I said, characters like Jade, characters like Mini Herta, characters like Linksha, and all of them who are doing AoE, helping out her to get her energy. She's going to be really great. The only problem I have with the Herta, even though I do think she's the most solid pick over her and Aglaea realistically, and we are going to talk about Aglaea very soon. The only thing that I have a problem with Herta is that if we were, which I kind of use this as a very minority case, I don't see Herta being in a situation where she will always fight only one enemy at once. Most of the time in Apocalyptic Shadow, same thing goes for the MOC and of course Pure Fiction. There's not really modes or there's not really fights in the game that are a single target. Everything either summons enemies, either has 5 enemies to them, there's shared HP with multiple enemies. That's just basically how the game is at this point, and it's been moving in that direction for such a long time, and we really haven't seen any single target scenarios in a great amount of time. I do think that Herta will suffer in single target scenarios where she can't really get stacks up that quickly because you can't basically spread them out with all the AoE attacks that you have and then combine them into one character. That's the only thing I can think she can I guess you could say worry about, but like I said, that's a very small case that most likely won't even happen just because of the way the game has been built, the way the enemies are usually laid out. There's usually never an opportunity where, unless you kill all the enemies on the field, that there actually is a single target enemy on the, I guess you say, debut start of those MOCs, Apocalyptic Shadows, or anything like that. So the Herta, very, very strong. I do think she is probably the most priority in picking up in this game right now in 3.0 versus some of the reruns. I think realistically, looking at Aglaea as well before we go into the reruns, Aglaea, I myself, just so I can make it transparent with y'all, I've decided to skip Aglaea. The reason I'm skipping Aglaea is because not only is, in my honest opinion, I don't really enjoy the potential, or not the potential, but I do expect there to be more remembrance characters in the future, and right now I do think Aglaea is just going to be the introductory summon unit, the same way Buhil was the introductory break unit. There's going to be another remembrance character that's going to be in the same vein of the archetype that we had characters like Rappa, who's probably better than the both of them right now. Same thing goes with Firefly. She's also really nice and definitely a character I loved as well. So I do think in the future, when we do get these other remembrance characters, there's going to be someone super strong compared to Aglaea. And realistically, if I had to pick one character over the other, I would definitely pick Herta, just because she has quality of life for Sim Universe. She has the nuke potential to keep up with MOC for a very, very long time. She's helping other units be able to rise in power just because of her introduction. And not only that, she also has many free-to-play teams for many people that aren't as 5-star invested. But realistically, although Aglaea does seem very strong, she does seem like she's going to be a different type of character, with her ramping up her speed multiple times as the battle goes on. I decided to just go for E1 Fugue, and that's just going to be how it is for me. But realistically, looking at the actual reruns that we will be looking at, I'm trying to find where they're at. The reruns are where all this is going to be insane, because there's just so many characters coming out. One of the things that we're looking at is, of course, Lingsha Feixiao Jade. Lingsha Feixiao Jade, that is a very strong list of characters, but of course there are some caveats to all these characters that you want to make sure you're looking out for. Jade specifically is a hot topic, and a character I do want to talk about in their own video, just because I do think they deserve it. Just because not only, oh, I forgot, I don't have Jade. What am I looking for? Jade specifically is a unit that I know a lot of people are looking at with the Herta's release. I know a lot of people don't want to pull for 2 5-stars at the same time, because basically everyone's saying Jade is the best partner for Herta, and that would be the best way to go by it. I genuinely think, even if you go for the Herta, I don't think Jade is a must. I think you have many options in the game at the current moment that are in the same vein of being a really nice teammate for her and allowing her to be able to work in a similar fashion. You have characters like Mini Herta. You have characters like Serval. You have members MC being able to help out with support as well. And not only that, we also have other Harmony characters that will be coming out in the future that could potentially take Jade's spot as a Harmony character. Tribi is definitely a character that could be in that same vein or fashion, where she might be able to do some type of AoE damage with being a support. We have no idea what she's going to do. This is all speculation, of course, but like I said, Jade is not needed for Herta. It's just really recommended, I guess you could say. I would 100% think if you want to go for the Herta and you just want to use the Herta, there's nothing wrong with skipping Jade. I do think Jade is a ginormous boost in helping out Herta, but I don't think realistically we have a need to pull Jade, a reason to pull a second 5-star on the same half patch of Herta's release. I do think you can use Serval, you can use Harmony MC, or not Harmony MC, RMC, and you can use Mini Herta. A lot of people have been using those team comps to clear MOC, and they've gotten pretty fast cycles with it as well. So I don't necessarily think it's needed. If you want to pull for Jade, go ahead. I honestly think she can get some boost in the future, or you permanently just have a teammate with Herta who's going to be good forever, basically. So Jade is a good character. I just don't think it's needed. So don't feel peer pressured into pulling for Jade. And looking at the other two characters, we are looking at Fei Xiao and also Lingsha. So Fei Xiao is a different story when it comes to the power of a character versus if you need them or not. I'm assuming if you're looking at this and you're wondering about Fei Xiao, I would assume you just don't have her then, because at that point you are, if you're looking for Eidolons, that's on you. I don't know exactly how strong her Eidolons are because I don't think I've ever checked. I think E2 is the busted one. Yeah, this is the busted one where it makes follow-up attacks a full point instead of half a point. That can give you so many more ults. But other than that, Fei Xiao specifically, if you already have the pieces for follow-up, so I'm saying you have Robin, you have Aventurine, you have March 7th, because March 7th is free. You don't need to have Topaz, but Topaz is definitely a really good boost. And if you don't have Aventurine, you either have Lingsha, because those characters are able to help out Fei Xiao with her ultimate. That's how you get the most optimized Fei Xiao. If you have all of these teammates, or at least a good amount of them, because there are some substitutes, you can replace Lingsha for Gallagher. You can replace a lot of other characters for free-to-play variants. Like I said, Topaz for March 7th. Then maybe Fei Xiao is good for you. If you don't already have at least half of those characters either built or summoned, maybe Fei Xiao should be a skip. Although she is a tier 0 character, pulling Fei Xiao means you're now going into the follow-up archetype. Either A, we don't know how the expiry date is on that archetype. I do want to say that this is by far the best team in the game still at the moment. She's still super duper strong. Like, without a doubt, follow-up team is the best team without a doubt. But if you are pulling Fei Xiao without the other characters, then that might be a problem, just because you are confining yourself into this team and you don't have the parts to make Fei Xiao work, because Fei Xiao works the same way Acheron does. She wants teammates to help battery her so that she can do her job. And not having the charge to battery her, then she's just there waiting until she eventually gets her ult, which is going to take quite some time. And then the other character is Lingsha. Lingsha's actually a really good character. If you are looking for another abundance character or another healer, Lingsha is very strong. Not only is she absolutely disgusting for break, she can also technically be the main DPS with some way people are building her. She's able to be with break. She's able to make her own self a break DPS. She's also able to help out with follow-up attacks. So this is another moving part within two different archetypes, which is a very strong thing overall. She's just a overall general good unit. If I had to say who is the most priority out of all these three units, I would realistically say Lingsha. But if I had to go over all of the reruns right now alongside the Herta, I would legit just say go grab Herta and leave these reruns alone. While the story for the next half is a little different, because the next half with Aglaea is going to have Boohill, Silverwolf, and Robin. I'm not going to lie, this is going to be very easy to talk about. Silverwolf, sadly, she can be used. She definitely is still used on certain team comps, especially the ones like with Dr. Ratio, and same thing with Acheron, because they both love debuffs. Silverwolf is still pretty good and helps them be all on element. But with the inclusion of a lot of these characters in the current day, having weakness implant themselves, like the break units, having ignore elements, which kind of is crazy. Silverwolf is kind of put out of sight and is really only used for her defense debuffs if you still have her. So unless you for some reason have no debuffers, you just really like Silverwolf, maybe, I don't know, that's the only reason you'll pull Silverwolf. But realistically, there's so much in the game right now that already counteracts the element system that Silverwolf kind of has no need for at the moment. The only thing people use it for now is literally just for the debuffs and that nasty 40% defense shred. So realistically, that's all it is. Same thing with Boohill. I think Boohill is an amazing character, but although the break teams are a little bit more free-to-play centric, Boohill is the hardest, in my opinion, to get rolling versus someone like Rappa, who can ignore element and also is absolutely disgusting with what he does or she does. And Firefly also has that ease of access for implant on everybody. It really does suck when you're playing Boo Hill and you're having to wait for your ultimate after you use your technique implant and you're taking a long time. You really don't bring them unless it's physical weak. But those who are absolutely giga cracked out or super sweaty with Boo Hill can make it work on anything. I do think that investing in, if you are already looking at Boo Hill versus something like the summon meta, I would kind of just wait for the summon meta. I don't think realistically is that needed to go for Boo Hill at the current moment, just because although his team is really nice, his team is a little bit more free to play centric. I do think just investing into the next DPS archetype, if you've already passed up on break, would be a little bit stronger and would help you out a little bit more than something like Boo Hill. And then the last one is Robin. Robin, without a doubt, pull. If you don't already have her, pull. If you do have her, E1 is definitely on the table. E1 is definitely a super strong Eidolon. I have this Eidolon myself. While the Concerto state is active, so is her ult, all type res pen increased, and this is a universal buff to anybody that is with Robin. So whoever you have on the team, they're getting a damage buff off the gate just because she's doing her job. This is super strong for someone like Robin. This is absolutely nasty. I do say if you have the leftover pulls, if you already have Robin, E1 is definitely a super strong one. Not needed, but super duper strong that you can add on to any team and help you out regardless, just because of how strong Robin is. Having a full team advance for it, also having tick damage, also having damage boost, all that different type of stuff is really good overall for any team without a doubt. So E1 is super strong. And if you just don't have Robin, if you have the pulls to spare, Robin is definitely a character you want to pull out. Robin works on Memo sprites, if I'm not wrong. I don't remember from testing on the server, but Robin, I think, works on Memo sprites. Robin is able to help out everybody in the game without a doubt. I don't see her getting power creep anytime soon. And if she were to get power creep, that just means you now have two Robins on the same team now, or not on the same team, on two different teams. One for the top half, one for the second half, and you kind of win-win. They would literally have to bring out another version of Robin for her to even be considered out of the question, just because of how much stuff is in her kit and also all that she can do for every team. She can literally be put on any team, slap her on, now that team is a meta. She is just that strong. There's only a few characters I would ever suggest on a rerun that you can pull, and that's Ruame, Robin, and I feel like I have someone else, but I don't think there's anybody else that is a must pull. Robin and Ruame are definitely it. I still think Ruame is super duper strong and super nice, specifically with break, and it's still a good overall universal support, but she may have a little bit less pull factor than someone like Rob. Robin is just tier 0 all the way. But other than that, that's pretty much going to be it when it comes to talking about all these characters. And the last two characters I need to talk about that I haven't done so yet, we are getting a Harmony Quantum very soon after Aglaea's release, and same thing goes for My Day. So not only do you have a Harmony character, which of course everybody knows that Harmony characters are high priority, so we're gonna have to see what we're gonna be looking at when it comes to Triby's showcase in the live stream, and we also have to see how My Day is going to work as well, because as a new DPS, he's already competing with someone like Herta, someone like Aglaea, and all the other archetypes that we have in the game. We don't know what he's going to be working with. The only thing that is very exciting is that we don't know if he's going to be part of the summon archetype. We have zero idea if he's going to be hyper carry, he's going to be part of follow-up, anything like that. He by himself is just a character that we have to see where he lies versus everybody else, because now you're comparing him to teams, you're comparing him to units themselves. That is the big part of My Day's release. And overall for Triby, she's a Harmony unit, so she has the most priority in most likely working with a bunch of different units, or at least being able to boost up a single team into meta status. So other than that, that's pretty much going to be it for this video. If you want a quick synopsis and what you should be doing, pull for Herta. She's super strong. If you are interested, I do think she's a really great unit to overall boost anyone's account. She's going to last a long time. She has a bunch of free-to-play options. And then pull for Robin. Robin is just super universal, one of the best supports in the game, and I don't see her being power crept anytime soon. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. We have a lot of banners, so hopefully this helped out in talking about a couple of the characters and where they're at in the meta right now. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the next one, and peace.